Hi everyone, it's Lucy Kim from Peer Tutoring Club. This is my first video. Today's video will be short instructions for courses in Algebra 1. Firstly, why are we learning Algebra 1? Algebra 1 courses contain the basic knowledge needed for all future high school math courses. Specifically, you can fully understand basic math operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. And you can also learn basic knowledge of fractions, percents, and decimals and realize the relationship between these. Furthermore, you can get a basic knowledge of ratio and proportion. By having a better understanding of numbers, you'll be better able to do any type of math. My course is divided into 12 small units, which is constructed as numbers, measurement, algebra, exponents, inequalities, coordinates, linear equations, quadratic equations, polynomials, sets, functions, and graphs. Now, I'd like to move on to our first unit, which is numbers. In numbers, I would like to teach you about squares and square roots, simplifying square roots, standard form, the evolution of numbers, real numbers, and imaginary numbers. What do square numbers mean? It means to multiply by itself. For example, what is 4 squared? 4 squared is 4 times 4, which is 16. Squared is often written as a little 2 like this. The little 2 says the number appears twice in multiplying. Let's look at the square from 0 squared to 10 squared. 0 squared is 0 times 0, so it's 0. 1 square is 1 times 1, so it's 1. 2 square is 2 times 2, so it's 4. 3 square is 3 times 3, so it's 9. 4 square is 4 times 4, so it's 16. 5 square is 5 times 5, so it's 25. 6 square is 6 times 6, so it's 36. 7 square is 7 times 7, so it's 49. 8 square is 8 times 8, so it's 64. 9 square is 9 times 9, so it's 81. 10 square is 10 times 10, so it's 100. We can also square negative numbers. For example, what happens when we square negative 4? Negative 4 times negative 4 is 16 because a negative times negative gives a positive answer. So when we square a negative number, we get a positive result. Now let's move on to square roots. A square root goes the other way from a square. 3 squared is 9, so a square root of 9 is 3. So a square root of a number is a value that can be multiplied by itself to give the original number. A square root of 9 is 3 because when 3 is multiplied by itself, we get 9. We discovered earlier that we can square negative numbers. For example, negative 3 squared is same as negative 3 times negative 3, which is 9. And of course, 3 times 3 is 9 also. So the square root of 9 could be negative 3 or positive 3. For other example, what are the square roots of 25? Negative 5 times negative 5 is 25, and also 5 times 5 is 25, so the square roots of 25 are negative 5 and positive 5. This is the special symbol that means square root, and we use it like this. And we say square root of 9 equals 3. Now, let's look at the example. What is root 25? 25 equals 5 times 5. In other words, when we multiply 5 times 5, we get 25. So the answer is root 25 equals 5. However, there is some confusing point here. Maybe you can think that negative 5 times negative 5 is 25 too. Well, the square root of 25 could be negative 5 or positive 5, but when we use the radical symbol of root, we only give the positive or 0 result. For other example, what is root 36? The answer is 6 times 6 is 36, so root 36 is 6. Now, let's simplify a square root. To simplify a square root, we need to make the number inside the square root as small as possible, but still a whole number. For example, root 12 is simplified as 2 root 3. They're both same value. Here's the rule. When a and b are not negative, root ab is same as root a times root b. For example, when we say root 12, 12 is 4 times 3, so root 12 is same as root 4 times root 3. And the square root of 4 is 2, so root 4 times root 3 is 2 root 3. So root 12 can be simplified as 2 root 3. Let's look at one more example. When we say simplify root 18 is same as root 9 times root 2. And the square root of 9 is 3, so root 18 is 3 root 2. It often helps to factor the numbers. It will be mostly helpful when you turn it to the prime number. For example, when we say to simplify root 6 times root 15, first, we need to combine the two numbers. Root 6 times root 15 is root times the quantity 6 times 15. So it can be factored. Root the quantity 2 times 3 times 3 times 5. So we can see 2 3's and decide to pull them out. So it will be root the quantity 3 times 3 times root the quantity 2 times 5, which is 3 root 10. Also in fractions, there's a similar rule for fractions. Root a over root b is same as root the quantity a over b. So when we say to simplify root 30 over root 10, first we can combine the two numbers as root the quantity 30 over 10, then simplify as root 3. Now let's move on to the standard form. The standard form of an equation is some expression equals 0. In other words, equals 0 is on the right and everything else is on the left. For example, when we say x squared equals 7, we can put 0 on the right and everything else on the left. So the answer would be x squared minus 7 equals 0. Now let's look at the standard form of a polynomial. The standard form for writing down a polynomial is to put the terms with the highest degree first, like the 2 and x power of 2. For example, when we say 3x power of 2 minus 7 plus 4x power of 3 plus x power of 6, the highest degree is 6, so it goes first. Then it is ordered by 3 and 2. So the answer would be x power of 6 plus 4x power of 3 plus 3x power of 2 minus 7. Now let's move on to the standard form of a linear equation. The standard form for writing down a linear equation is ax plus by equals c. A shouldn't be negative, a and b shouldn't be 0, and a, b, and c should be integers. For example, when we say to put y equals 3x plus 2 in standard form, we firstly need to bring 3x to the left, so it will be negative 3x plus y equals 2. So we multiply all by negative 1, which will be 3x minus y equals negative 2. So now we can note a as 3, b as negative 1, and c as negative 2. This form, ax plus by plus c is 0. Now let's look at the standard form of quadratic equation. The standard form for writing down a quadratic equation is the standard form of a quadratic equation, which is ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, in a way that a is not equal to 0. So for example, when we put x times the quantity x minus 1 equals 3, we can expand x times the quantity x minus 1. It will be x squared minus x equals 3. So we can bring 3 to left, so we can say x squared minus x minus 3 equals 0. So we can note a equals 1, b equals negative 1, and c equals negative 3. So it was lesson for today's lesson. So in the next lesson, we'll be learning about the evolution of numbers, real numbers, and imaginary numbers in the first unit. Thank you for watching and see you next week.